no doubt, when you look at the toy catalog, the first big splash page must-have item of the holiday season is September 3rd, 7:30
Yep.
p.m., which I believe is a Sunday on
Mm-hmm.
ABC Primetime TV, LSU versus Florida State, this time in Florida, in Orlando. Round 2 fight. Oh, I can't wait, Aaron.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for this game. This may be one of the best games of the college football season. We're going to get it week 1, primetime Sunday, its own slot. So you have the team that I think is going to win the SEC West, and you have the team I think that's going to win the entire ACC. Both teams have legitimate aspirations and chances to making the Final Four when it comes to the playoffs at the end of the year. I think one of them will. I think one of these teams we will see on this Sunday game, whether it's Florida State or LSU, will be one of the Final Four teams at the end of the season vying for a national championship. That's the talent that's going to be on that field. That's the belief I have in the coaching staffs, the belief I have in both quarterbacks, and they've done a great job. I mean, they've really hit both teams, Florida State and LSU, really assessed their rosters this offseason. You and I talked about the other day with
Yep.
FSU, returned the most starting talent in college football from last year. And we know how we fit that. They finished the year off. They went and filled gaps in through the portal. They got a top tight end. They just got a top receiver, a couple other positions here or there. LSU did the same thing, returned a ton of talent on both sides of the football. Also did a great job in the portal as well. Just got a big time running back as well. That was the area of concern that I talked to you about after the spring game
Yep.
for LSU was, are they going to have depth at running back? They went out there and filled that need, a few days ago. So both these teams, top 10, top 5 teams in America heading into the season. We get it week 1. I think as long as it's a close game, I think both teams are still alive. It just obviously, from there on out, you got to win the rest of your games. And I think Florida State obviously has the easier path being in the ACC. I think it's more of a must win for LSU week 1 because the thought of them having to run through that gauntlet and then face Georgia and win all those games in a row, obviously a lot more difficult than what FSU would have to face.
It is, what's kind of crazy to think about when you think about this like a round 2? If you think back, like, this is what I love so much about this game, Aaron. It's not just the tone that it's going to set going into the season, all the implications that you just laid out, but think about how different the narratives are surrounding these two teams entering this year versus entering last year, right? Whereas last year, what was LSU's over under win total? Like 6.5?
Yeah.
Maybe like a 7.5, I think it was.
People were predicting them to be the worst team in the SEC West last year, I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So on one hand, you have this LSU
Yeah.
team that nobody gave a shit about. And sure, it's Brian Kelly, but could Kelly do it at Notre Dame? Could he do it in the South? Could he fit in the SEC? I mean, we'll talk Brian Harsin a little bit later in the show. Very fascinating, the similarities in terms of the questions being asked when Harsin goes to Auburn and Kelly goes to LSU. And obviously Kelly passed flying colors, whereas Harsin really didn't fit in and never managed to ingratiate himself with the local culture. So already you had an LSU team that was picked to finish, anywhere from 5th to 7th in the West. You had a Florida State team that we all thought still sucked. And in fact, even after this game, I wasn't convinced that they didn't suck. And then they start 3-3 before getting hot, but you had a Florida State team where Mike Norvell's on the hot seat. The offensive line's awful. Jordan Travis really isn't anything to write home about. Remember, at that time, the idea was if you force Jordan Travis to have to throw the ball, we treated that man like Robbie Ashford. We treated that man like Robbie Ashford. Like we really thought that he was just a hapless thrower, and then he finishes over the final 7 games with a 90-plus QBR, best in the entire country. So what I love about this is last year you had 2 fighters that were insecure. Right? The 2 teams didn't fully know themselves yet. They didn't know how good they could be. It's wild to me that both of them would go on to win 10 games. Now you have both teams entering and they've got abs now. They've got pec. Their conditioning is top notch and they believe that they will win and that they should win and they should be the champion. And what should that give us? As exciting as last game was, it was still sloppy. It had a bit of a bad news Bears sort of feel to it, as Brian Kelly even said at SEC meetings this week. But this year, it's a true heavyweight battle with 2 teams that look in their prime, that are top 10 in the country. And I cannot imagine a better way to start this season.
Yep.
And guess what? If you're going to cut this, you're going to put it on Instagram. You know what I need you to do now? I need you to play that video of that little redheaded kid who sat there after the game on the local news and said, "You can't spell LSU without the L because we're coming to beat your ass, kid." Okay? Revenge is a dish best served cold, and I don't forget, and I don't forgive. Okay, so I can't wait. September 3rd. It's going to be incredible.
LSU, just figure out how to catch a damn punt. That's all I ask for. If LSU can catch some punts, they may actually win the football game.
Well, no, remember that game was they don't know how to block
The
on
punts,
field goal. Yeah,
well,
no, but they
the
didn't know how to
punts
block
too.
on field goal. They had the
Neighbors
extra
dropped 2
point
punts
block.
and then they missed. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
but they also
right.
dropped 2. They dropped 2 punts.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Look, special teams are bad, which is why Brian Polian is no longer there.